for joining today's webinar, Journey to the Future, Transform Informatica ETL Workloads to the Cloud. My name is Kristen Kolesky, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer and Global Head of Strategic Partnerships and Alliances. For the next 45 minutes, we're going to be diving into the business critical journey to transform legacy Informatica ETL workloads to the cloud. I promise you're going to walk away from this session with the understanding on the need to do so and an action plan to do that. Our esteemed speaker today is Ashish Bagal, our CEO and founder of NucleusTeq. Ashish brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and we're super excited to have him join us and share your expertise with us today. So with that, I will kick it over to you, Ashish.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Good morning, good evening, everyone here in the US as well as across the globe. Very happy to be here. Here's what we are going to cover today from structure of our webinar perspective. And as Kristen mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free, and very happy to answer those. But go ahead and put it in the chat. That will give us some structure to answer them as they come. With that, Kristen already mentioned I've been in the industry for over 25 years. Feels older, but that's pretty much what it has been. Serving many Fortune 100 customers and addressing their data and analytics challenges, mostly at a very hyper scale levels, right? And today's conversation is going to be all about NuoData, but let me quickly introduce you with the group of company here. So a little bit of an introduction in continuation to what Kristen mentioned. I am founder CEO of NucleusTeq, NuoData, and Fyndr. The conversation context or the focus for today's webinar is going to be NucleusTeq and NuoData. Fyndr, however, is Finding Places. It's a small business mega app that the company has founded, and it is serving and catering to hundreds and thousands of businesses, small businesses in the US today. NucleusTeq is the parent consulting and digital transformation company that has built NuoData. So from a NucleusTeq service offering perspective, we do end-to-end data consulting, business consulting, enterprise lake formations, setting up the entire data lake from our governance and cataloging and automation. So we built all of those key capabilities that customers are looking for in order to ensure that they're ready for the next generation analytics platform or data as a service for their enterprises. NuoData is in the context of today's webinar, where we are going to demonstrate some of these key capabilities. Now, having said that, NuoData is a very large, massive platform. It does a lot of things. To give you some context, we generate as much data in one day today that we used to generate in the entire year just 12 years ago. And we'll talk about those as well and how this data universe is expanding and exploding. So the need for these enterprises to constantly move and modernize these data assets is almost perpetual, right? Whatever is modern and exciting today, the technology is evolving so fast that there is obviously a need for them to constantly move and modernize those data assets to be able to make the most sense out of the data, as in outcome analytics, whatever maybe the consumption goals for those data products are. In addition to that, NuoData also is building or supporting all major data management capabilities. right from your data catalogs, governance, lineage, automation, data quality, ingestion, transformation, making the data ready for analytics and applying those ML and AI logic on that, and then subsequently monitoring of those, right? So it's a massive platform, as I talked about. In the context of today's conversation, we are going to address the Informatica as one such legacy platform, and how we are helping our customers migrate and modernize Informatica workloads into their choice of platform or future platform, right? We'll talk about those in detail. Just a little bit of an introduction of who we are, what we do. We serve almost for 15 Fortune 100 customers today. We have premium partnerships with all hyperscalers and data leaders in this case. We talk about AWS, GCP, Azure, Databricks or Snowflake. We have premium partnerships with all of these key data providers and hyperscalers. We do serve, as I said, over 15 Fortune 100 customers today, solving many of their problems of the present day, as well as what they may encounter in few days from now. So proactively addressing a bunch of those issues and challenges for them. So just a little bit of a trend, as I was talking about how the data is exploding and where things are. This is one area where modernization, as I said, it's almost a perpetual need for these organizations where you may talk about the latest in things like AI and running the large language models and everything else that you want to do. However, the fundamental to any organization's success is how good is your day-to-day data management organization, right from putting it at one place, or even if it is a lake house architecture, that's fine. But how accessible is that data for you? How you are able to, manage that data, as in create analytics, make it consumption ready. And then the last part is obviously how you're consuming that data. So the LLMs and AI and anything else that you see, they come at the very end around the consumption layer. It is imperative to the success of those models and those consumption patterns that your data management is very strong. And this is what NuoData is doing, in addition to helping customers build those analytics models and running AI and ML. Not the context of today's conversation, we'll have it in the next webinar very soon, but ensuring that you're able to bring those legacy platforms onto a more contemporary, flexible architecture is what we do in this case. And just some trends from Gartner. This market is exploding, rightfully so, because data is the new gold, as they call it, where if you are able to harness your enterprise data, it is the most successful, rather the most important KPIs and success factors for these enterprises. Moving on, just a little bit of a context around how this data has been exploding in zettabytes, where, if you really look at in last 12, 13 years, this seems to have just grown massively, right? Now, why modernize a legacy platform? If everything is working fine, why modernize it, right? So two big reasons. One, that it is, they create silos for you, especially some of these platforms that do not necessarily utilize open source, that do not necessarily entertain and encourage a lot of open integrations. It stifles your innovation. And having said that, the idea is you do not want to lock yourself with too many uh, native and proprietary technologies, because the technology itself is changing so rapidly that you want to build your data architectures on a little bit of a flexible and future-proof platforms. Having said that, now when you have to modernize, what are the key challenges? So let's, in this case of Informatica, for example, people came in, they built, it uses a proprietary, builder. You came, built, those people are gone. And even if they are there, they don't understand the nitty-gritties of the future platform. So you won't find somebody who's exceptionally good on both the technologies, the legacy and the future. So we bridge that gap here, where our engines are exceptionally, bridging those knowledge gaps. And we'll talk about that in a brief while. uh, your total cost of ownership is always high because you have a silo that is not talking to all other capabilities, right? And at that point, you will have to bring that information and data to yet another platform that provides that flexibility. So it definitely adds a lot to the cost of ownership. And in general, these licensing and these platforms are very expensive. Now, while doing so, you have very limited data knowledge. Thereby the ability to govern and manage that data is very limited. Um, you do not know which data is coming from where, who owns it, who's the owner, who's the steward, whether it has PII data or not. So management of those data attributes are almost impossible if you were to run those pipelines and create that. And clearly, if you were to do this manually, this takes forever. Though if you have explored and evaluated those files, especially in the context of Informatica, those are very complex, tedious files, and you will be prone to manual errors. It takes a lot of time compared to some of these automated tools, and it's not the most optimal thing. At the end, if you really see, when you're modernizing, you're not necessarily adding a new capability. While you are getting ready for a new capability, you're not necessarily adding a whole lot while migrating. So it is equally important for us to do it more effectively and do it fast. We already talked about the legacy stifling the innovation, and then we also already talked about the availability of the data for the larger consumption. So I'm moving on. How's our solution different than what some of the industry tools and products might be dealing with and providing? So there are few key aspects to how we are enabling these Informatica migrations to your cloud of your choice, right? Um, we do provide 100% conversion accuracy for small and medium complexity workflows. And while the engine is constantly learning and it is enabling the future transformations, enabling effective future transformations. For all complex ones, we are around 84% accuracy at this point. When I say complex workflows, I'm talking about very complex ones, which has at least 60, 70 transformations and more. The AI-enabled engine effectively learns some of these patterns and adds them for the future conversion. So the engine is getting better every day from what it was yesterday. And the biggest differentiator here for NuoData transformation platform is that this is a self-service enabled modernization. So modernization to most of the enterprises is seen as, hey, do it one time and I don't care how you do it, just somehow get it done. But this is where we bring in transparency to the process, where we have the self-service enabled platform, and you will see it very soon, where we are able to collaborate. You are able to create organizations, you're able to create users and accesses and roles within those organizations. And you're able to assign a certain task to those users, such that everybody has a clear visibility into their roles and what they're doing, as well as the leadership should have and will have a very clear view of the transformations and the progress of the overall modernization. The platform has the ability to identify and list all the analysis items, or the impact analysis as we call it, right upfront in the first steps itself, where you're able to break it down from an Informatica workload perspective. How many transformations are there? How many mappings are there? How many workflows or worklets? What type of sessions are involved, and how many sequels are there. So we are able to break it down into every single possible atomic fragment of that workflow or workload, wherein we are able to then exactly estimate how much of an effort that might take, and then we'll demo this as well today. We are also able to extract the source and target schemas right up front. So for you to be able to ingest data until the transformation is ready, you should be able to work on it at a little bit larger enterprise level, where you're able to bring the data, make it ready, ingest the data. All of that can be done as a parallel exercise, not as a dependency to migration. It supports multi-tenancy. We do have a platform which is extremely capable and efficient. It supports multiple organizations. The data that we store, first of all, we don't store the data, but the transformation files and everything that we do, they are stored in a completely segmented organization level databases. So we do not use common data sources or databases for even storing the transformations. Just wanted to highlight that. This is probably the one of the biggest differentiators of this platform, where we also help transform your schemas from whatever source that they are in to any other place or any other schema that you want it to point to. For example, you may be, as of now, the Informatica legacy might be using a certain schema, but as part of your data lake formation or lake house formation, those schemas have been transformed, standardized, and sanitized, and let's call it a golden copy. So these workloads, once we convert, they have the ability to point to your new schema and convert the entire logic accordingly. This is extremely important, because if you keep using old schemas, it just adds redundancies and major technical debt for the organization. The other one is, where once we convert that, sometimes you may not have access to the customer data immediately, right? So this platform provides you the ability to create or generate synthetic data based on the source and target schemas and DDLs that we have extracted. And then that gives you 98% accuracy from a testing and validation perspective, where even before you go and use the customer data, you would know that this is going to work, because we literally take out the entire DDL, generate X many rows. You want to generate 5,000, 50,000, 500,000. The platform has the ability to generate that test data and do those validations apart from doing the semantic validations. So this platform is pretty capable in terms of doing the end-to-end cycle management. Um, One of the other important things from enabling collaboration perspective is that once you transform the code, we are able to help you check in into your enterprise repository. So the code never resides on our platform. Once you have converted the code, you check in into your GitHub, and there onwards, we let you access that GitHub code from whatever future platform where you are going to migrate this information and workloads to. So that's a pretty innovative thing that we have done, and that enables collaboration. Everybody's working on the same code, but that's where we bring in the version management and version control, and that's where it is super helpful and productive. Given how global these teams are these days, you will be all over the globe and still be able to be aware of where that stage and where that code is. The other thing is, as you convert the Informatica workflows and mappings and everything to a Spark SQL equivalent code, we are also able to generate automated DAGs, which can then be deployed to any platform of your choice. So, such as, let's say, if you're migrating into Databricks workflows, we are able to convert that into a Databricks workflow code and automatically create the entire workflow. That's pretty innovative. I don't see any other product out there which provides this capability today. And let me just quickly move on. And I probably already talked about the benefits of why we are doing it. So I'm going to skip this. At a high level, we are not talking about the data foundation, the quantum platform today, because the focus is modernization. But I encourage you to reach out to us, and we will set up a separate session for you and talk about each of these capabilities. They are pretty extensive. Sorry. Yeah, they're pretty extensive capabilities on their own. So we will be very happy to schedule some time and walk you through with that. Um, at a high level, this is what NuoData does, and maybe I'll explain the underlying approach at this point, and then we'll straight away jump on to the demo, where NuoData, if you take any data asset, right? Um, it could be of many types, or the need of modernization could be of many types. The first context is you may have just data stored at one place. So one schema, one storage to another schema, another storage, right? So that's the physical data movement. The second option or choice or a problem that the enterprises might be dealing with is moving the workloads. Hey, I have it written in ANSI SQL today, or I have written it in, let's say, Informatica, native or proprietary code. How do I move that to my future platform, right? The third context could be how do I move my orchestration, workflows, and scheduling from my legacy to my future platform. So we support all of that. NuoData has the ability to support all of these variants of your enterprise data movement and modernization challenge. And how we are doing it is essentially converting that into, so schema to schema is pretty easy. We use Spark-based engines to do the data movement. So that's pretty easy. The workloads, we convert them into Spark SQL. And then for orchestration, as I was saying, we convert that into generic DAG, and we extract all the scheduling and session and all that information, and that can be transported to any future platform that you have. It could be Databricks, it could be Dataproc, it could be EMR on AWS, it could be any other platform that you want to deploy that workflow and orchestration to, right? we have a very structured approach to modernization, and I'm going to demo this very briefly to you on how we do this. But define essentially is what's your goal? What are you trying to do? What is your source? What is your target? What is your target engine and language, and so on and so forth. Connect helps you just upload those source files or configuration files. In this case, Informatica XML configuration files. It will just help you connect and load. Analyze breaks it down in terms of complexity, estimates what it might take. Design is where you can change the schema from source to any other any other schema that you would want to use. Likewise, we also enable your schema enablement for target and common, which are using common source and target schemas. So we enable and design those schema changes, and then we help you transform. With a click of a button, you're able to transform the entire workflow. And validate is essentially we have created a portal within NuoData that helps you track all these components of migration and ensure that they are tested properly and they are signed off. Likewise, we have kind of decoupled it from the future platform. So let's say you may be taking and migrating this to Databricks or Snowflake or GCP, depending on where you are taking it, or EMR, AWS, wherever you are taking this, we would help you validate those and bring some of that information here just to make sure that the traceability is not lost. Last, not the least, is we also have an engine where you're able to roll out these capabilities on NuoData platform if you wish to run these jobs and workloads on our infrastructure. But we obviously let you or help you migrate and download those and run it in your infrastructure. This is just an option where you're able to run it if you wish to do so. With that, I guess I'm going to jump on to demo. Maybe this is a good segue for high-level questions if you have, and then I will probably jump on to demo quickly. Kristen, did you receive any as of now, or should I just proceed?
I think you can just jump into it, Ashish.
Okay.
Great.
Sounds very good, guys. So this is where I encourage you to go visit NuoData. NuoData.io is our platform that supports. Now, you may also contact us and we will create a custom login for you or your enterprise such that you're able to come in and try your hand on these migrations and modernization capabilities. Um, so what I have done is just logged into the platform. This is the dashboard, which helps you manage as many projects as you want, and then it also kind of tracks the progress of those projects within the platform. Before that, let me just walk you through some of the roles management that I was talking about. This is a NuoData admin site. So we are able to help you or your enterprise create respective, some of them are sample IDs, so don't worry about it, but this is a demo site anyway, where you're able to create an organization and you're able to add a user for the organization. And if you are an admin for a given organization, you will be able to add users and manage users for respective organizations anyway. So it's a pretty extensive platform here that we support, that thereby the multi-tenancy and all that need that we were talking about. You can pick up a repository that where you would be checking in all the code where the whole team is going to collaborate on. So you can go ahead and set up those Git repository. Target platforms, you are able to go pick up any of these where your target platform is going to be. And then accordingly, when we design these pipelines, those target platforms are accounted for. To give you a context here, I just created a small project called Demo October 23. You can create any new project anytime just by going there, create a new project, and you should be able to create a new project. Once you come in here, you are able to select some of these project definition requirements, as in what you're trying to do, what's the project name, what is the source platform. In this case, it is Informatica. And based on the source platform, it gives you options of what all possible source files it takes. So we take the Informatica XML as an input here. What are your target platform options? In this case, we are picking up Databricks Lakehouse for demo. And then what's your target language, right? In this case, we have picked up Spark SQL. So once I update that or just go to the next level, I can actually go to connect and I can pick any other file here. Maybe I'll just show you how to, I'll take a sample XML file, upload it here. And when I say analyze, the file is already uploaded and the analysis is complete, right? So this is the one which we just added. It has one workflow, it has 7 mappings, it has 36 transformations. If you want to drill down into specific file details, what we also do is we give you a graph view of what this Informatica workflow looks like today, right? So it has this is a very complex one that we picked up where you're able to get the entire workflow here. Then it has worklets. The worklets has mappings. So this is a view that you have in your Informatica today. We are just replicating that view here, component by component, and telling you what those relationships are between these, between these components here for this mapping. We would generate it for all of those capabilities that you have here. Likewise, for the this is the workflow, and then these are the mappings, and then it has multiple maplets, right? So maplets are nothing but not maplets, worklets, which are nothing but workflows, but they are sub workflows, right? Which are used here. So we are able to map the entire structure of how that Informatica landscape looks like in this case for this XML. Subsequently, we are able to also break it down into complexities, and we are able to give how many joiners, how many expressions, filters, target definition, source definition, pretty much all the variables that this conversion or workflow file is using. We are able to extract all of that and give it to you here. Likewise, we are also giving an estimate, high-level estimate of if somebody were to do, and this is an expert level estimate, right? Somebody who's an expert at both Informatica and Spark, how much time will it take for them to manually convert this? Versus how much time the tool is taking. Now, there are two factors to this. If you really see, we took 10 seconds to convert. However, the 21 hours that you see, it accounts for end-to-end rollout, validation and rollout into the customer environment. So that's the reason there is a factor built in for the unavoidable testing and manual effort that you would need to spend on the customer environment, right? Likewise, we extract the source DDLs that I was talking about. It tells you exactly what those tables are, files or columns are, where we are updating this job, what all tables and columns it is updating, right? So once you have this analysis done, and this analysis is free on NuoData. So if you want to just do this analysis, this is free on NuoData. We would be encouraging all customers to come in and leverage this platform for that. So once you have done the analysis, you simply click on transform, and the entire package that you saw gets converted into a Spark SQL code here. So if I were to show you exact same structure here that we saw in the analysis phase, however, for each one of those mappings, now you see a converted code here. So there's a graph view of how that was, and then you can actually go click on each of these components, and it gives you a Spark SQL code of that component on how that is structured. And then if you want the entire file, it can be picked up from here. And obviously we have all sorts of download facility here, as well as you can download the entire package here, right? So as you can see, this transformation and conversion is literally at the click of a button, where you are able to now convert this into a choice of your platform and language. So now, because we picked up Databricks, it also appends some of these customized requirements that a Databricks notebook expects, right? Which is pretty awesome. These are ready to go. And then we have some of these things continued here, where you're able to constantly go back and check how this workflow was looking at that point. The design aspect, which I should elaborate here, is you're able to now come in and change the source tables, the column types. As of now, we have disabled the data type, but once I think this should be ready in the next sprint or two, where we are able to help you do some typecasting and manage that, and you're able to not only change the column names, but also able to change the column types, data types, right? Once you do that, it manages yet another version, and you're able to convert everything yet again, which reflects the new metadata and new column names. So you can change it. As I said, we maintain a version of all of this, and then you're able to convert that into a Spark SQL code. It will come back here. So for example, let's say if I do just V1, and if I just saved, it saves a version of that file now for me, right? And then you see here a version has been created. And now if I say transform, this version is going to be converted into Spark SQL. So it's a pretty cool feature that we have built, which is essentially helping enterprises maintain their single version of truth. They don't have to have redundant data, just because it's coming from one legacy source and nobody wants to touch it. We are here to help in that sense, right? So we covered the entire design, we covered analysis and transform. Once you have transformed, you can go to validate, and for these files that we just converted, they are ready to be checked in into GitHub. So once you are able to check in this code to GitHub, let me just do that. It gives you some options here. We haven't done the physical validation. So typically you can go to these XMLs and go back again to those mappings, for example, here. And then you can manually, depending on, as I said, the collaborative environment and the roles, you can come back and say, okay, this mapping is passed. You can attach the test data that you have for traceability and sign-offs. And then if you want to ask questions, you can just write anything here, and then add comments. So it provides that collaborative platform where you're able to constantly look at each of those components within the workflow, and able to track, test, and report. So if I went to this again, see, it has just given me a status of how many of these are passed and not started, but let me go check it in anyway. So it goes back and checks this code into the Git repository that we have set up earlier. And this is a respective enterprise Git repository. right? With that, the next step is, you go back to launch Databricks, and that will have access to this Git repository, and you're able to generate those sample test data, the synthetic data that I was talking about, test the workflows, test the mappings, and report. So this is how easy and simple this entire conversion and transformation is. We feel we are adding at least 8 to 10x velocity to our customers' data journey by using NuoData, right? So I'm going to keep the last 10 minutes for Q&A. Guys, if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer those.
Ashish, we got one question in so far, but please feel free to unmute or drop your questions in the Q&A if you have any. This question says, you touched on this a bit, but how do you see this platform different from others in the market?
Yeah. So few big reasons, right? The first reason is we do not have a knowledge of a platform that is this level of self-service, right? So collaborative and self-service is a huge, huge differentiator. The second biggest differentiator is the engine quality itself. Our ability to convert those transformations from legacy to a future platform is exceptionally high. As I was saying, 100% for small or other simple to medium complexity, and 85% plus for all complex workloads. The other thing that we just reviewed is schema compatibility, right? You're able to move and create these transformations from any source to any other source that you want to map it to, and we are able to convert that logic into the future of wherever you want to take it. So it helps you really create that single version of truth. And if you really see the transformation itself, it's so easy. It's like literally few seconds of work that you see from beginning to end of the transformation, right? It has synthetic data generation. Yeah, I mean, I can list at least 8 or 9 of those differentiators which do not have that. So I know, without naming a few, there are few converters today, but they are mostly black box, right? They are command line converters, and they are stifled in terms of providing you the flexibility of what was converted, what was not converted, what challenges were faced, and then how do you collaboratively test. Those are big challenges in other platforms, Kristen.
Thank you. Any
All right.
questions? Go ahead. Okay, we got a question. How much data will be handled on day-to-day basis from Rohit?
Okay. So this is there are two layer to that, right? The first layer, the physical data migration. As of now, we have not demoed that, but NuoData supports that. And really, the data is not of any constraints. It's entirely based on how big of an infrastructure you have that can support. So we can support terabytes of data migration and movement every single day. In the context of what we have already done for some of our customers, we migrated 1.2 petabytes of data over the let's say 9 to 12-month period. So again, this is not a reflection of what the tool can do. It's mostly a factor of what your customer or what your infrastructure is enabled to be doing this, right?
Great. Another question came in. How are you handling the performance tuning while converting, let's say, HDFS-based Hive process to Spark SQL?
Yeah, very good question. So what we do is, when we convert these, let me go back to this. So when we convert these into jobs or the, uh, one sec, let me just give you a real example. So let's say this is your workflow, right? So we infused instrumentation around each of these jobs, and we manage and track the time taken or elapsed time for each of those queries along the way. And that one that gives you a very good insight on what's taking how much time, right? Because this is essentially a pipeline that gets deployed into the platform of your choice. And the second thing that we do is based on once we have identified the challenge or a potential comparative analysis where we say, oh, the HDFS Hive process is taking 2 hours, whereas this one is taking more than 2 hours. That's where we go back and review that and optimize, right? But some of the optimizations, while we have applied the AI models in terms of conversion, and the very fact that it uses Spark and distributed computing and in memory, 99.99% of the times the converted code will be better than a Hive HDFS query, provided you have the right infrastructure to support that.
Great. Thanks, Ashish.
Yeah.
We got one last one. So obviously this webinar was focused on Informatica, but how effective is this platform for modernizing other?
So we do support, it will be very helpful if I know exactly what you're looking for, and we would be very happy to set up some discussion. But as of now, this platform supports Hadoop, Teradata, any Oracle, Netezza, and obviously Informatica and some of the other legacy, Vertica. So there are some platforms that we consider that are required and in need. However, it is extremely important for me to point out, it is not just modernization. You could move, let's say, a Snowflake data and query to any other platform of your choice. Let's say any modern platform also, if it is too expensive for you and you want to try out a lakehouse on Iceberg, we are able to do that. So it doesn't always have to be a legacy to modern or cloud. It can be cloud to cloud.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
I have one question, it's Raghavendra here. How NuoData can be leveraged to expose data for real-time processing?
Yeah, so real-time processing, as I said, there are two different modules, right? As of now, what we are looking at is the conversion logic. If you really see, there is no physical data moving from one end to another. It is the logic of how you extract data, how you process data, and how you persist and sync the data to the target, right? The second, maybe we will have the webinar very soon on that, which is the NuoData ingestion platform, where you're able to bring in the data, the physical data on these pipelines and subscribe to whatever source might be. In this case, when you're looking at a real-time processing, you're probably going to talk about, subscribing to a Kafka topic or something. But then the whole event, we manage, monitor, and track at every step of the transformation and give you that view. But that's a physical data ingestion thing that we will address very soon, maybe in our next webinar, both for batch and real time.
Thank you, Ashish. I think, we had a couple more come in. We can maybe take a couple more questions and then wrap up. If the user wants to ingest extra steps in between, for example, wants to add a query somewhere in the workflow, is that an option?
Yeah, as of now, what we are doing is like to like conversion for the sake of integrity of your migration, right? So and then however, we talked about the schema change and aligning to your single version of truth and future data schemas and things like that. So that's always anyway possible. However, if you're trying to add a query in between, this is done as soon as you have already checked in into the GitHub. Let's say if your future platform is, in this case, what we were seeing is Databricks environment, right? So you extract that workflow or mapping, and then you're free to add those. And it goes back to the GitHub. So the transformation itself is a little bit one-to-one. However, it does not stifle you. It does not give you any view and ability to change that. You are able to monitor, manage, optimize the performance, and add any queries if you wanted to.
Great, thank you. So with that, I think we can wrap up the Q&A portion.
Yep. Thank you. I guess, this was, I hope rather, that this was a very informative session for you. We wanted it to be a very point solution webinar as opposed to a generic webinar. But NuoData, as I was saying, has the ability, what you saw was 4-5% of what this platform does, right? We just saw one Informatica to a possible cloud migration. However, the modernization alone has many capabilities. On top of it, the whole data management capability is also something which we would like to and love to demo it to you. In the meanwhile, until we do the next webinar, if you have any questions, please do reach out. We'll be very happy to assist and support you on that. With that, I'm stopping the share. Are we ready to wrap up in that case, Kristen?
Yes, we are. Thank you all for joining us. As Ashish mentioned, we're going to be doing quite a few of these webinars coming up, so we will certainly make sure to communicate that. And we will be following up with the on-demand recording of this session. But again, if you have any questions or we can help, please contact us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you.